Hi, in today's session, we will discuss numbers in Python. So we will discuss numeric data types which are supported by Python programming language. So Python basically supports three built-in types for numeric data. The first one is Boolean, then we have integer, and then we have floats. Boolean basically has only two values, true or false. Integer means whole numbers, and floating point means decimal values. Let's say 6.5. We'll discuss a few features. Now, these built-in types are immutable. So an object once created cannot be modified. Boolean data types have only two values, true and false, and integer types does not have any fixed range. So unlike in other programming languages, integer type here does not have any fixed range. So you can declare an integer as big as you would like. Moreover, there are no character type in Python. Unlike in other programming languages which have the character data type, in Python, we do not have any separate data type for character data. So now we delve right away into programming and defining these data types. So let me share my worksheet. So today we'll discuss numbers in Python. Python supports three built-in types, Boolean, integers, and float. Let's first delve into discussing Boolean types. So Boolean types basically have two data types, true and false. Okay. These true and false basically are reserved keywords in Python. So you cannot declare any variable with these names true or false. So here I'm printing these values with the print statement, print function. So I pass as argument the keyword true, it prints true. And when I pass false as the argument, it prints false. I can convert any other Python data type to a Boolean value. So while converting, the non-zero values are considered to be true and zero values are considered as false. So like say here, so 4.2 is a non-zero value. So while converting it to bool, it gives me true. So I use the function bool, which is predefined in Python programming language. Okay. So when I pass 4.2 as the argument, it gives me true. And then in this example, I pass as the argument the non-empty string ABC. Okay. So when I pass this as an argument, it gives me true. Okay. Zero values are represented by integer zero in decimal 0.0, empty strings, empty list, empty dictionaries, and or empty tuple. Whenever you pass any one of these, the to the bool function, it gives you false. So zero values are taken to be false, non-zero values are considered as true. So here, when I pass the integer zero, it gives me false. When I pass the empty string, it will again give me false. And when I pass this empty list, it will give me false again. Now, this list, dictionary, and tuple data structures we will discuss in a later section. Okay. Coming to the integers. Integer is any sequence of digit. Okay. So any sequence of digits represents an integer literal. Okay. So here, let's say 73. You cannot precede a zero with with a sequence of digits. So here, like say in this example, when I proceed 0 to 98, it gives me syntax error. So the error is leading zeros in decimal integer literals are not permitted. If I want to use to write the octal number, I would use 0O, and for hexadecimal number, I would prefix 0x. But to the sequence of digits in decimal, I cannot prefix 0. To separate the digits in literal, like sometimes we use comma to separate the digits if it's a big digit. So we cannot use comma in Python, but to separate the digits, we can use underscore. These underscores are ignored when the digits are manipulated. So 23 underscore 45 underscore 634 is treated as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, and these underscores are ignored. But it helps us to segregate the digits and increase the readability. We can also prefix the sign. So to represent the negative integers, I can prefix minus. Okay. So to represent the negative digits, I can prefix minus. So it is minus 235. Or to represent a positive number, I can prefix plus. But it is the same as not using it. So now Python also supports arithmetic operations. All the arithmetic operations which are present, which are used, are supported in Python language. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and we have exponentiation as well, as we would see. So to represent addition, we use the plus sign. 2 plus 3 gives me 5 when it is executed. Subtraction is supported with the minus sign. 2 minus 3 gives me -1. Multiplication is supported with the asterisk symbol. So 2 asterisk 3 gives me 6. Okay. Now coming to division, there are basically two types of divisions. The first is normal division, and another one is floor division. Normal division gives me a decimal value when one integer is divided by the other. Okay, so let's say 6 divided by 2 gives me 3.0, and similarly 5 divided by 2 gives me 2.5. Okay, so it gives me a complete decimal value when one integer is divided by the other. We also have an integer division or the floor division, which gives me the quotient of the division. So 3 divided by 2 gives me 1. Now we have the different symbols for them. So for the normal division, I use the single forward slash, and for the floor division or the integer division, I use the double forward slashes. So 5 single forward slash and 2 gives me 2.5. Okay. To represent the floor division, I use 2 consecutive forward slashes. Now you should take note of it that you cannot use space between these 2 consecutive forward slashes. So these have to be consecutive without any white spaces between them. So 3 double forward slash 2 gives me 1, which is the floor of the division. I can also get the remainder of the division through the modulus operator. So 9, and this modulus is represented through the percent symbol. So 9% 5 gives me 4. Okay. Similarly, we have the exponentiation operation as well. To represent the exponentiation, we use the double asterisk. Again, you cannot use white spaces between these 2 asterisk symbols. Okay. So 3 double asterisk 2 is 3 raised to the power 2. 3 raised to the power 2 would be 9. Okay. These two things, quotient and remainder, you can also get by the dive mode function, which is a built-in function in Python. Okay, so you can use this to get both quotient and the remainder. So dive mode 11, 3. 11 and 3 are passed as the argument to this function. Functions we'll discuss in detail in a later session, but functions are basically a separate piece of code you can think, which takes some arguments and gives you some results. Okay, some outputs. So here I pass these as two values as the inputs, 11 and 3. So it means what would be the quotient and the remainder when 11 is divided by 3? So here basically you get 3 and 2. So 3 is the quotient and 2 is the remainder. Okay. Precedence of operators. Okay. So when in a sequence of arithmetic operations are there between the integer literals, obviously one operation is getting precedence over the other, gets precedence over the other. So here we will discuss the precedence of these operators. The highest precedence is given to unary plus and unary minus. So like say if to represent the negative integer, I use the negative minus sign. So that is the unary minus. Similarly, unary plus as well. So they get the highest precedence. Then we have the operations multiplication, division, or floor division or modulus next in the series and in the sequence, and then addition and subtraction get the precedence. So highest precedence to the unary plus unary minus, then multiplication division get the precedence, and then addition or subtraction get the precedence. So addition and subtraction have the same level. Multiplication, division, floor division, they are at the same level. And then at the higher level, we have unary plus or unary minus. Okay, so 4 plus 3 into 2. Okay, it would be, so it has both the plus operator as well as the multiplication operator. So multiplication gets the precedence. So first it multiplies 3 and 2, and then the result is added to 4. So 3 multiplied by 2 gives me 6, and 6 when added to 4 gives me 10. Okay. Sometimes it becomes confusing to depend entirely on the precedence of these operators. So to say things explicitly, you can use parentheses. Okay, so to be explicit, use parentheses. It avoids the confusion and makes the things more clear that which operation you want to perform earlier than the other operations. So here I want to perform multiplication first. So I have basically used it this way by putting this multiplication operation inside parentheses. I can revert to this, overrule this usual precedence rule with the help of parentheses. So let's say I want to perform the addition first. So I would use parentheses to override this. So now it would be like this. First addition is performed and then the multiplication. So 4 plus 3 gives me 7, and 7 multiplied by 2 gives me 14. Coming to bases. So most of the times we deal with integers with decimal basis or the base 10. But sometimes we also would like to use other bases as well. Let's say base 2, base 8, or base 16. Okay. Base 2, base 8, and base 16 have special significance in computers because they are raised to the, because they are the powers of 2. Okay, so they have the special significance, and we have the separate notation for them, separate ways to represent them. So a binary base can be used by prefixing any literal with 0 and b. An octal number can be represented by prefixing the integer with 0 and o. So octal number basically uses only 8 digits from 0 to 7. Binary number uses only 2 digits, 0 and 1. And hexadecimal number uses 16 digits, 0 to 9, 10 digits, and then 6 alphabets, A, B, C, D, E, F. So to represent the hexadecimal integer, you prefix it with 0x. So here in this example, now here you would see this basically integer uses only 2 digits, 1 and zeros, and to represent that it is a binary number, not the decimal, I need to prefix it with 0 and b. B can be small or capital, both will work. When I used to run this, the Python gives me the decimal equivalent, which is 2. Okay. Similarly, to represent any octal number. Now, octal number means it uses only 8 digits from 0 to 7. Okay, so any octal number should be prefixed with 0 O. When I run this, the Python gives me its decimal equivalent, which is 8, because after 7 comes 10 in octal, which is 8 in decimal. Okay, so this is similarly, let's say 37. 37 would be equivalent to 31 in decimal. 37 in octal is the same as 31 in decimal. Similarly, to represent the hexadecimal, I need to prefix 0x. Hexadecimal numbers use 16 digits, 0 to 9, and then 6 English alphabets, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so 0x10 gives me 16. 0x39A, let's suppose, gives me 922. So this is the way to represent. You can do the conversion as well. So these are the Python built-in functions. Bin, which is used to convert an integer to a string in base 2. Oct, which is used to convert a decimal integer to a string in base 8. Similarly, hex function converts an integer to a string in base 16. Okay. अभी इसका जो पहले था उसको, so it is the reverse of what we were doing earlier. Okay. So bin of 26 So it means 26 here in decimal. This bin function gives me the string equivalent in base 2. Okay. Octal, oct, and when I pass this 26 as the argument, is it gives me the octal equivalent of the decimal 26, which is 32. Hexadecimal equivalent of 26 is 1A. Okay, so this is what I get. Converting to int. Okay. Now, this int function is used to convert from other types to integers. Okay, so let's say you would like to convert from a floating point to integer, you can use the int function. You would like to convert from string to integer, you can use int function. Okay, from bool to integer, you can use the int function. So let's see it. So for the bool, coming to the boolean values, the true is equivalent to 1 and false is equivalent to 0. Okay, so when I pass true as an argument to int, it gives me 1. Okay, when I pass a floating point number as the argument, it truncates the fractional part and I get 42. Okay, when I pass any number in string as the argument, it returns me the number, integer number. So here the minus 34 is represented as a string. When I pass this as an argument, it gives me the minus 34 in decimal. Okay. You can also define the base as well. Okay. So here you are saying that this 11 is actually an octal number. 11 in the string is actually an octal number. So when you pass this to the int function, it gives you the corresponding integer equivalent, which is 9. Okay. So 11 in octal is the same as 9 in decimal. Okay. But you cannot pass the any floating point is any string which is representing a floating point value as the argument. So here in the string we have 98.6. So when you try to pass it, it gives you in syntax error, value error, invalid literal for int with base 10. So you should only pass the strings which are equivalent to the integer values. So like say minus 34, but not the equivalence of floating point values. Okay, so it gives you the error. Integer can have any size in Python 3. Okay, so like say you can use this to represent Google. Google is a number in which 1 is followed by 100 zeros. Okay, so here I am using this variable Google and assign it the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. Okay, so this can also be used, and when I print it, I get this result. Okay, coming to the floats. Now, floating point numbers have decimal points in between. Okay, so here we have 5.4. Okay, you can also represent the floating point numbers in the exponent mantissa form. Okay, so here you have to represent in exponent mantissa form, you use the symbol E. So the mantissa part comes before E and the exponent part comes after E. Okay, so here 5e2 means 5 into 10 to the power 2, which is 500. Okay, so you get 500.0 when you try to print it. So this is how you can represent the floats. You can also, so there are two ways. Either you can use it directly by defining the decimal bit where it is actually there, or you can also use it to represent in through exponent mantissa form. Now, floating arithmetic are the same. All the operations, addition, multiplication, division, subtraction, which we had seen in the for the integers, also are valid for the floating point numbers as well. So 0.1 plus 0.1 gives you 0.2. 2 into 0.2 gives you 0.4. 0.2 divided by 0.2 gives you 1.0. and 0.2 plus 0.1 gives you 0.3. Here you would get some other uh, some extraneous digits as well, 0.3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 4 in the end. It is because how the floating point values are represented in the computers. Nothing regarding to the actual mathematics. Because the way the floating point numbers are represented in the computer, that's why you get this thing. Okay. So 3 into 0.2 gives you 0.6 basically, and you have this. Now, conversion to float, you can use this float function, which is used to convert other types to floating. So 35, if you pass as the argument, you get 35.0. If you pass this Boolean value true as the argument, you will get 1.0. Okay. With the int function, you are getting 1. Here with the float, you are getting 1.0. You can pass a string equivalent of any decimal value, any this fractional value, and you would get the equivalent real floating point value. Okay. So let's say here I pass a minus 9.5 as a string. Okay. So it's actually, it means these are having 4 characters, minus 9 point and 5. So these are the 4 characters. This string has 4 characters. Now when you pass this to the float function, it gives you the floating value minus 9.5. Okay. You can also use exponential and mantissa in the string. So let's say if your string is minus 5 e minus 3. Okay. So you get here minus 0.005. Okay. So Python defaults to a float in any operation that uses a float, even if the output is a whole number. Okay. So for any operation, if there are one of the number is a float, the result would be a float only. Underscores in numbers we had seen already. Okay. Constants. Okay. A constant is like a variable whose value stays the same throughout the life cycle of a program. In other programming languages like C or C++, we have the different separate const type, which we can use to define the constants. But here in Python, we do not have a separate built-in type for constants. Python programmers use all capital letters to indicate a variable should be treated as a constant. So you can use all capital letters for the variables to indicate that these are constants. But there are no such no such thing as that separate built-in type to represent the constants. Okay, coming to the comments. So comments you can use by the hash symbol. Okay, so here, we have this comment is represented by using the hash symbol. Hash say hello to everyone, so it prints, and then this print line. So this any comment is basically line anything that is ignored by the Python interpreter. So Python does not interprets that. Okay. So that is all for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you everyone for joining.